Hello friends, today we'll learn about habit and niche. Concept of habit and niche. Habit habit place or set of environmental conditions in which a particular population or species lives. Strictly, however, where an organism lives or species lives is called habitat. Strictly, however, where an organism lives is its habitat. It is a physical and biotic environment. Habitats may be subdivided into layers or zones. Microhabitats: forest canopy, leaves, branches, shrub layer, that is leaves, branches, trunks, herb layer, leaves, stems, mosses, and ferns. Litter, that is dead fallen leaves, logs, varies in depth quality. Soil, that is topsoil or subsoil. Ecological niche, description of either the role played by a species in a biological community or the total set of environmental factors that determine species distribution. Every species has a range of physical and chemical conditions as well as biological interactions within which it can exist. Dimensions of a niche: habitat and microhabitats, food spectrum essential nutrients, reproductive requirements, nutrition, nest, densities. Seasonality: when are resources required used. Niche identify the role of an organism in which its community or the way an animal makes its living. Ecological environment. In ecological niche, an organism is the physical space occupied by its existence. Organisms that occupy the same or similar ecological niche is in different geographical regions are known as ecological environment. Ecological equivalent. Now niche width and overlaps. Niche refers to the way in which an organism interacts with its environment. So, niche are closely related to environmental tolerance curves, but niches have behavioral dimension. Example: method of locomotion, running, swimming, flying, as well environmental ones. That is example: temperatures limits. Niche can be used to make comparisons of the composition and organization of communities, examine shifts in the behavior or ecology of one species in response to another species. General dimensions of an organism niche includes forage, foraging, tactics and diets, reproductive tactics, social organization, defenses against predations, environmental tolerance, morphology, sensory adaptations, physiology. Grinnell. Grinnell, the scientist named Grinnell in 1917, defined it as an all the sites where organisms of a species can live, where conditions are suitable for life. Ilton in 1927 described the niche as the function performed by the species in the community of which it is a member. The first definition emphasizes the address of the species and the second one emphasizes its profession. It called this statement is was given by Miller in 1967. Hutchinson in 1950 57 defined a niche as a region in a multidimensional space of environmental factors that affect a species. This definition is more close to Grinnell's definition. It became popular because the range of tolerance to ecological factors can be easily measured, whereas species profession is hardly measurable. It is believed that the intensity of competition is proportional to the degree of niche overlapping. However, this kind of statement should be accepted with caution because because measurement of niche volume is a subjective procedure. And second point is some important dimensions of the niche may be not known. Niche changes in the life cycle. Niches change from one geographical region to another. Measuring niche dimensions. These ideas about competition all assume that there is a limiting resource. Many have modeled resources as sources niche access, resource access, and species utilization curve. Resource access, a line representing change in a resource such as size or suspension concentration of toxins, and species utilization curve is the degree to which a species can be utilized to resource at some point on the resource axis. Different species can be represented as humps along the axis. Humps give each species range, resource sizes utilized, and its optimum resource utilization point. Ideally, if limiting similarity is correct, the overlap between species resources not be larger than the limiting similarity ratio. Species packing when all of the species on a resource axis are spaced in each shows maximal overlap, allowing coexistence can be added without causing more overlap than limiting similarity would allow. Resource axis is called packed. Niche breadth. Niche breadth is the degree to which a species utilizes all available patches or resources. There are many ways to measure these, but all are related to the simplest given below. 11 niche breadth will range from 1.0. Niche will range from 1.0 when the species is equally distributed across each resource or path, or 1 by S when all members of a species are found on one patch or resources. The pi, the pies are often measured as the proportion of different food types in the guts of the species of interest. Overlap between the breadth of two species may be as proportional similarity, where Pij and Pjk are proportions of the least abundant species found on the ith patch or resource. As a rule of thumb, a PS of over 70% is considered to indicate active competition between the species, and lower values allow coexistence of the competition. This concept has been applied to comparing two different communities of species as well as two different species. These are relative terms Specialist and generalist describe the endpoint of continuous variation in the degree of specialization in resource use, behavior, and physiological species that use many resources will have large value of niche breadth, reflecting a generalist pattern of resource use. Thank you. Niche shift is change to a less used or previously unused proportion of resource gradient or to a new resource gradient in the presence of competitors. This may also include niche compression. Niche compression. Okay. Realized niche resources actually used in presence of competitors. Sometimes fundamental niche and realized niche are termed pre-competitive and post-competitive niche, reflecting a traditional focus on interspecific competition's effect on niche. Fundamental niche is greater than realized niche. Realized niche for different populations of same species may differ because differences in competitors and predators between locations and competition. The competitive exclusion principle. Let's know about the competitive exclusion principle. G.F. Gauss in 1934, if two species the scientist named G.F. Gauss in 1934 told if two species with the same niche coexist in the same ecosystem, then one will be excluded from the community due to intense competition. Competitive exclusion principle. Let's know about competitive exclusion principle. One species will have a competitive edge and will gain a large share of resources. Other species will migrate to a new area, become extinct, or change its behavior in a way to minimize competition. Process of niche evolution is called resource partitioning. Niche specialization can be create behavior separation that allows subpopulations of a single species to diverge into separate species. Let's know about example squirrels in Britain. The red squirrel is native to Britain. Its population has declined due to competitive exclusion, disease, disappearance of hazel coppices, and mature conifer forest in lowland Britain. The grey squirrel is an alien species introduced to Britain in about 30 sites between 1876 and 1929. It has easily adapted to park and gardens, replacing the red squirrel. Resource partitioning. Resource partitioning. Resource partitioning avoids competition. Realized niche divide resources among several species. Resource partitioning is a way in which different species can use the same resource, such as food, without copying the same physical location at the same point in time. In this example, the different warblers eat same caterpillar, but they occupy different position in the tree. Two primarily occupied uh, two primarily occupy the area near the trunk, with the others share the edges of the branches, but at different heights. The result in the warbler do not overtly compete for food in the same species. Robert MacArthur examined niche overlap in a group of five sympatric warbler species in New Hampshire that were the same size and at the same arthropod species in the same tree. With increased immigration, more species may arrive at that tree, necessitating greater niche compression. Thank you.